All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The Blount County Legislative Body is now in session with the Honorable Jerome Moon, Chairman, presiding. All persons having business with this Honorable Commission, draw near, give attention, and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America, the great state of Tennessee, and this Honorable Commission. At this time, Boy Scout Troop 81 will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag.
Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, cross the colors. The audience, please cross their heart with their right hand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard, reform. Color guard, hold. Color guard, forward march.
Y'all may be seated. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 2017 regular session of the Blount County Board of Commissioners. At this time, if you'll give your attention to the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you've reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building. Quickly proceed away from the building. Be mindful of others evacuating and of emergency vehicles. Commission will come to order. Are all the members signed in who are present tonight? Make sure you're signed in, please. Madam Clerk, are you ready to report tonight's attendance?
Mr. Chairman, you have 17 present and 4 commissioners absent. Commissioners Akard, Cole, Daly, and Lewis are absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Lewis sent word that he had a work schedule conflict tonight. At this time, the chair will stand for a motion to set the agenda.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Bennett.
I make a motion to set tonight's agenda with the removal of item F9.
Commissioner Bennett moves to set the agenda as published with the exception of deleting F9. Press your motion button, Commissioner Bennett.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
A second.
Sean Carter, Commissioner Carter seconds. It is moved and seconded to set the agenda as published with F9 removed. Commissioner Monroe.
If I'd like to remove something from the consent calendar, do I do that now or when we get?
Pardon me?
If I'd like to request removing something from the consent calendar, do I do that now?
That would be done when we take up the consent calendar. Thank you, Commissioner.
Right.
The pending motion is to set the agenda as published with item F9 being deleted. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to set the agenda. Vote no not to set the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, there are 17 yes votes.
17 yes, the motion carries. The agenda is set. Agenda item B, the consent calendar. The chair will stand for a motion to approve the consent calendar. Commissioner Monroe, I'm going to recognize you before we take the motion. You have a request?
Yes, I'd like to put B4A on the regular agenda.
Pardon me?
B4A.
B4A. That will be placed as item F13.
Is that what she's talking
F13. B4A is the BSO.
about? Is that what she's?
Let's make sure I'm moving the correct thing. BSO reoccurring grant match requirements, worksheets. That'll be an item coming up in business, though, I believe, tonight. We'll take it up as F13. Okay, the chair will stand for a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of 4A. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Commissioner Samples moves. Is there a second? Commissioner Caskey seconds. It is moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. Are the members ready for the question? Commissioner Samples, you seek the floor.
No, I'm sorry.
They need to press their motion buttons.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Sample moves. Commissioner Caskey seconds. Are the members ready for the question?
Wait just 1 minute. Okay.
If you're in favor of approving the consent calendar, vote yes. If you're opposed to the approving consent calendar, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 17 yes votes.
The consent calendar is approved. The next item of business is item C, public input on items on tonight's agenda. Does anyone wish to speak on tonight's agenda? Seeing no hands, the next item of business is item D1. The chair will stand for a motion on item D1 to appoint Lloyd Hanson to the Veterans Affairs Committee. Commissioner French moves. Second. Commissioner Carver seconds. Commissioner French, if you'll press your motion button, sir. Commissioner Carver, thank you. It is moved and seconded to appoint Lloyd Hanson to the Veterans Affairs Committee. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to appoint Lloyd Hanson to the Veterans Affairs Committee. Vote yes if you approve. Vote no not to approve.
Mr. Chairman, there are 17 yes votes, and I'd also like to make note of the fact that Commissioner Aker just came in, so we now have 18 present and 3 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The 17 yes, motion carries. The appointment is made. The next item of business is item D2. The chair will stand for a motion on item D2 to confirm the mayor's appointment of the Honorable Roy Gamble to the Blount County Planning Commission. Let's see. Commissioner Samples moves. Commissioner French seconds. It is moved and seconded to confirm the mayor's appointment of the Honorable Roy Gamble to the Blount County Planning Commission. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to confirm the mayor's appointment. If you're in favor, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 17 yes votes and 1 no vote.
17 yes, 1 no. The motion carries. The mayor's appointment is confirmed. There's no business under item E. The next item of business is F1. The chair will stand for motion on item F1, Resolution 1705007, to amend the debt service budget in the amount of $150,828,989.85.
Chairman, I move to approve resolution number 1705-007.
Motion made by Bennett, seconded by Carver. It is moved and seconded to adopt resolution 1705007. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-007. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt.
Mr. Chairman, there are 18 yes votes.
18 yes, motion carries. Resolution is adopted. Next item of business is F2. The chair will stand for a motion on item F2, Resolution 1705-006, to amend the highway budget in the amount of $350,000.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Commissioner Farmer moves,
Second.
and Commissioner Samples seconds. It is moved and seconded to adopt 1705-006. Commissioner Monroe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have some questions. We have a 10-foot paver, and this is for the purchase of an 8-foot paver. I'd like to know how much paving the county has been doing that would be 8 feet, and what have we been doing contracting that out? How much are we spending contracting that out?
Mr. Hedrick, if you come forward, please, sir.
Sorry, Ms. Monroe, can you repeat that, please?
Sure. How much money approximately, and you might not know the exact amount, but are we spending annually contracting out 8-foot paving?
Mr. Hedrick.
I can tell you 80% of what we will be doing going forward is with the new 8-foot paver, because county roads, obviously, some are narrow. The big paver is not conducive to that. How much are we spending? I'm not sure of that, because the only sub work we were doing was state aid paving.
Commissioner Monroe.
So how were you doing the 8-foot paving then, if you weren't?
Mr. Hedrick, go ahead.
The subcontractor was doing the 8-foot paving.
Okay, you said that the only 8-foot paving was subcontracting through the state?
They were doing the state aid paving with a smaller paver. We're having to sub a lot of that out because if you have the big paver on certain roads, it overlaps to where the cold joint is right in the tire travel. Whereas a small paver, you pave the lanes accurately.
Commissioner Monroe.
And all of that has been subcontracted out up until this point?
All state aid, and a lot of that was used with a small paver.
So were you were using the 10-foot paver then for 8-foot paving on
Mr. Hedrick.
county roads?
We were doing the best we could with a large paver. Occasionally, we would rent an 8-foot paver if we just had to do it and it wasn't a part of state aid.
Commissioner Monroe.
Okay, so you were doing 8-foot paving with your 10-foot paver then?
Mr. Hedrick.
We attempted to sometimes when it was conducive, but it doesn't give you the best road.
Do you have the manpower to do this?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what are you going to do, pull men off other projects for the paving?
No, ma'am. You know, paving is one of the biggest things that we do, and we try to do it very well. If the road dictates the big paver, then that's what we'll use. If it dictates the small paver to do a better job to make the road safer to travel on and to last longer, but not having the cold joints in the travel lane that water gets in and then the road comes up, you know, we have the crews to manage both pavers.
Commissioner Monroe.
What are those men doing when they're not paving?
Mr. Hedrick.
You know, Ms. Monroe, all our people are cross-trained, so if we're in a season we're not paving, we're cutting trees, we're spraying, they're asked to drive a truck. We multitask. We don't have people that do just one set job. They do everything that can't be employed.
Commissioner Monroe.
Okay, approximately, have any idea how much time you're going to be spending paving? Well, I just wanting to know, are you going to be coming back wanting more staff?
Commissioner Monroe, Commissioner Kaler, state your point of order, sir.
My point of order is, what does this have to do with the question at hand? Buying a paver to better prepare the roads for the citizens of this county who pay taxes for those roads to be paved. I don't understand what this line of questioning has, what the people are doing when they're not paving has nothing to do with the product at hand. Thank you.
Chair, rules on the point of order as well taken. Thank you, Mr. Hedrick.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Akerd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had some questions about the reasoning behind pursuing a new paver for $350,000 versus perhaps a low hours used paver for an approximate half that amount of money or less. How many hours are on our 10-foot paver now?
Mr. Hedrick.
I've not checked the hours on the big paver. You know, the last I looked, we're looking at 3,000-4,000 hours. What your first question was?
Mr. Akerd, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to know more about the condition of our 10-foot paver with 3,000 to 4,000 hours on it. Is 3,000 to 4,000 hours a relatively low hours, or is it worn out, or what kind of condition is 3,000 to 4,000 hours?
Commissioner Akerd, I believe in the former questions by another member established that the reason is not because the hours are wear and tear on the larger one, is because configuration to fit the road. I'm going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and recognize Mr. Hedrick to answer that question.
Is it worn out? Absolutely not. And we've serviced and maintained it. But what you have to understand is the application of a large paver and a small paver, and the job that it does. To the point of buying a used small paver, typically you're buying someone else's problems versus buying a new machine that has GPS capabilities that's going to save you on asphalt, it's going to save you on time and do more paving. Because if you set it to do 3 inches of binder, you're going to get 3 inches of binder. It doesn't have the human error that the large paver has.
Mr. Akerd, go ahead.
When did that sort of technology come into being?
In paving equipment, Mr. Akerd, it's been the last 5-6 years.
Okay. Are machines that are made within the past 5 to 6 years typically retrofittable to get the laser or GPS type equipment put on them?
Mr. Hedrick.
You know, typically the last few years, there are companies that do a lot of paving and need to be precise and efficient. They have the GPS capability, and it's going to save the county money.
Mr. Akerd.
Have we explored low hours equipment in the used market, maybe that had less than half as many hours as what you were just saying our larger equipment has, that was still in good shape?
What I can tell you,
Mr. Hedrick, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Hedrick.
What I can tell you, typically you will not find a good paver on the used market. Nobody will let them go unless there's a problem. So you're buying another man's problem, and I just don't feel like that's the responsible thing to do.
Mr. Akerd, go ahead.
So the answer to that is no, we have not, or?
Yes, I've looked at used pavers, and you know, they don't have GPS capability. You may spend several $1,000s of fixing them. The screed could be wrong. I mean, there's several things that you could inherit that you're going to spend good taxpaying dollars to fix when you can do it right the first time.
I understand what you're saying, sir, but when I pulled up Google while another commissioner was asking you questions for a Caterpillar 600F 8-foot paver, I have seen numerous of them, several of them with less than 2,000 hours for less than $100,000, and one with 600 hours for $187,500. They're all Caterpillars. They're all 8-foot wide, ranging in model year from 2010 to 2012. So they're not ancient by any stretch of the imagination. And saving $250,000 might be worth a look. I mean, some telephone calls or a trip to see, that's a bunch of money. And a 5-year-old Caterpillar shouldn't be, that only has 600 hours or 1,200 hours, shouldn't be someone else's problem, I wouldn't think. But would it not be at least beneficial for us to look at that before we spend $350K on a new one?
Mr. Hedrick?
I agree with you. So we have looked at that, and what you're looking up, what's the spec on the drivetrain? What's the spec on the motor? What's the emissions? What's the GPS capability? Is it building the crown in? What type of screed does it have? A lot of variables.
Certainly.
You can't, see, I mean, you can take any piece of equipment and strip it down. It's still going to carry that 600F. But that's not exactly what you get. And what situations has that machine been put in? Has it been run in South Carolina in the sand? There's a whole lot of variables that goes into a paving machine that's going to do the best work for the citizens, which is what they deserve, versus something used that we're going to throw good money after bad. Is it set up for us to hook our laptop to it and run the diagnostics if we have a problem? Does it have a warranty? And we buy that used one and the drivetrain goes out and it's $25,000. What have we achieved?
Thank you, Mr. Hedrick. Mr. Eggert?
If we bought a used one that was $100,000 and we had to spend $25,000 for a new drivetrain, we would still be netting a savings of $225,000 if all the other variables were the same.
Mr. Eggert, do I hear a motion in your conversation? Are you making a motion to amend this?
Yes, I would like
We
to.
have a motion to amend. State the amendment, sir.
Let me read the actual resolution to find my.
I believe you'll just be striking the amount and inserting a new amount.
Yes, sir. I'd like to strike the amount of $350,000 and put
Insert
$200,000.
$200,000. We have a motion to amend Resolution 17-05006, striking $350,000, insert $200,000. Is there a second? Okay, Mr. Eggert, if you'll press your motion button, sir. A motion to amend. Commissioner Monroe. Okay, we have a motion to amend Resolution 17-05006, striking $350,000, insert $200,000. Discussion on the amendment. Are the members ready for the question? Pending motion is to amend Resolution 17-05006, striking $350,000, insert $200,000. Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of the amendment, vote yes. If you're opposed to the amendment, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 3 yes votes and 15 no votes.
3 yes, 15 no. The motion to amend fails. The pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-006. Commissioner Bennett, you're recognized to speak on the main motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 questions for the road superintendent, please.
Ask the question to the chair.
Mr. Chairman, my first question is, in the road superintendent's opinion, after reviewing used equipment and new equipment, does he feel like it is in the best interest of the county to purchase a new paver?
Mr. Hedrick, do you understand the question?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And my second question is, you have no intent to sell the 10-foot paver, that you believe that the betterment of the roads for the citizens of this community will be served by adding an 8-foot paver to our asset list?
Mr. Hedrick.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I support this resolution.
Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized for the second time on adoption of Resolution 1705-006.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was expressed to me, concern was expressed to me by citizens in my district that other counties are contracting this out because it's cheaper to contract it out. We've not been provided any numbers to show that we're going to save money. Maybe we will, but maybe we won't. We've not been provided any data to support that. And I have had some discussion with another county about this that felt that it is cheaper to contract this out. So, and concern has been raised to me that perhaps there aren't even enough employees to do all of this paving, and that it might still be beneficial for us to contract this out. Those are legitimate questions raised to me by people that live in my district that have shared these concerns with me. So at this point, I mean, this may be a good thing. I would like some numbers. I'd like to look at this a little better. So I move to postpone this till next month, and that we be provided some numbers to show how much we're paving this year and how much is being planned to pave next year.
We have a motion to postpone until the June meeting by Commissioner Monroe. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Monroe to postpone this item until June, seconded by Commissioner Miller. Discussion on the question to postpone. Commissioner Monroe, I'll give the floor back to you because the motion's been made now. Discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the numbers can be presented to us that this is a good thing for the county, then I'll vote for it. I certainly am all for fixing the roads, but we have not been given any data to support this, and citizens in my district brought concerns to me and told me that I should vote against this. So doing my job to represent the people who have elected me, I would like some more data, because I don't feel comfortable at this time, based on what the people in my district have expressed to me, voting for this without having more information. Thank you.
Commissioner Akerd, you're recognized on the motion to postpone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaking on the lines of more information, it would benefit us to have more information about the paver that we're desiring to purchase. It was brought up previously that there are a lot of variables making it difficult to compare apples to apples without knowing those variables. So if we could please be informed the details of the particular paver we want to push for next month, that would also help me know where I stand on support or non-support of it as well. So if we could get the details of the particular machine, the details of the GPS and the type of drivetrain and all of those options that were mentioned, that with the powertrain and things like that, it would definitely help make things a lot easier. Thank you.
Okay, the motion is to postpone action on Resolution 1705-006 until June. Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of postponement, If you're in favor of postponement, vote yes. If you're opposed to postponement, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 4 yes votes and 14 no votes.
4 yes, 14 no. The motion to postpone fails. The immediate pending motion is the adoption of Resolution 1705-006. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt the resolution.
Question. This is the original.
Press your...
I did.
It is the original.
This is the original.
This is to adopt Resolution 1705-006 as published in the agenda.
Thank you.
If you're in favor of adoption, vote yes. If you're opposed to adoption, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 14 yes votes and 4 no votes.
14 yes, 4 no. The motion carries. The resolution's adopted. The next item of business is F3. The chair will stand for motion on item F3. Resolution 1705-002 to amend the general county budget in the amount of $15,618.
So moved.
Commissioner Carver moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Stinnett seconds. Commissioner Carver, the motion maker, do you seek the floor, sir?
No, sir.
Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a general comment on how I think that this budget form
Commissioner
not
Monroe,
serve
Commissioner
these-
Monroe, if you could
these-
speak into your mic, I can't understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a general comment that this budget form says one thing and then the resolution says something else. The box that's checked says adjustment, but the very first sentence of the resolution says this is an increase. I think we're doing a disservice to the citizens by having that kind of language, contradictory language. Thank you.
The motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-002. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, there are 15 yes votes and 3 no votes.
15 yes, 3 no. The motion carries. The resolution's adopted. The next item of business is F4. The chair will stand for a motion on item F4, Resolution 1705-004, to amend the general county budget in the amount of $25,085.
So moved.
Commissioner Carver moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Farmer seconds. It is moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 1705-004. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-004. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, there are 16 yes votes and 2 no votes.
16 yes, 2 no. Motion carries. The resolution is adopted. The next item of business is F5. The chair will stand for a motion on item F5, Resolution 1705-003, to approve an interlocal cooperation agreement between Blount County, Tennessee, City of Alcoa, and the Blount County Emergency Communication District of Blount County, Tennessee, to purchase Spillman Technologies Incorporated failover server.
So moved.
Commissioner Samples moves.
Second.
Commissioner Carver seconds. It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 1705-003. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to adopt 1705003. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt.
Mr. Chairman, there are 16 yes votes and 2 no votes.
16 yes, 2 no. Motion carries. Resolution is adopted. The next item of business is F6. The chair will stand for motion on item F6, Resolution 1705005, to enter into a contract with the Tennessee Department of Transportation to construct a new public roadway using State Industrial Access, SIA, funds to serve Denso Manufacturing in Maryville, Blount County, Tennessee.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Carter moves and Commissioner Bennett seconds. It has been moved and seconded to adopt 1705005. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I look at this letter to the mayor, I notice that it is dated in September of last year, and yet this is the first time that we've seen anything about it. I would request
that might be because it's the first time it's before this body, but
yes, but it is a matter that public funds are involved.
if you have a question.
This body has already appropriated over $1 million for economic and industrial development. This might be a good thing, but we have already appropriated over $1 million, and now we are being presented with another increase based on some documents from September of last year. So this money should come out of the over $1 million that we have already appropriated for economic development. And I would request that any such future type things, that this commission receive this information so that we can know these sorts of things are actually going on. Thank you.
Pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1705005. Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of adopting the resolution, vote yes. If you're opposed to adoption, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 16 yes votes and 2 no votes.
16 yes, 2 no. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. The next item of business is F7. The chair will stand for a motion on item F7, Resolution 1705001, to authorize the submission of an application for a litter and trash collection grant for fiscal year 2017-2018 from the Department of Transportation, and authorizing the acceptance of said litter and trash collection grant.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Commissioner Bennett moves. Commissioner Carver seconds. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized. It has been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 1705001. Commissioner Monroe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This looks a little different than what we've been presented with in the past couple of years. I appreciate actually getting this ahead of time before the grant deadline. That's nice. I have a question. If this is approved, are these funds already being budgeted in the proposed fiscal year 18 budget, or will a budget amendment have to be brought back if this is approved?
Mr. Vineyard, you're recognized.
It would be budgeted.
Thank you, Mr. Vineyard. Commissioner Monroe.
Okay, I could barely hear what you said. Could you?
He says it's been budgeted.
It has been budgeted. Okay. Okay. In the past, the previous 2 years, the actual grant, the proposal mentioned the creation of an environmental court. Is that going to be one of the goals in this grant? Has the grant been Is that going to be one of the goals in this grant?
Mr. Chairman, point of order, I don't believe an environmental court is mentioned in this. I didn't find it anyway.
The grant application has no language about environmental court at all.
Right, but the previous 2 years, it has.
That's not, the previous 2 years'
Okay.
document's not before us, Commissioner.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-001. Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of adoption, vote yes. If you're opposed to adoption, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 18 yes votes.
18 yes, 0 no. Motion carries. The resolution's adopted. The next item of business is F8. The chair will stand for a motion on item F8 to approve a grant application for Victim Service Coordination Grant.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Commissioner Bennett moves and Commissioner Carver seconds. It's been moved and seconded to approve a grant application for Victim Service Coordination Grant. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to approve a grant application for Victim Service Coordination Grant. If you're in favor of approving the grant application, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 16 yes votes and 2 no votes.
16 yes, 2 no. The motion carries. The application is approved. Item F9 was removed from the agenda. The next item of business is F10. The chair will stand for a motion on F10, Resolution 1705-012, to approve memorandums of understanding between Blount County Highway Department and the cities of Townsend, Louisville, Rockford, and Friendsville.
So moved.
Commissioner Carver moves. Is there a second? Commissioner Stinnett seconds. Been moved and seconded to adopt 1705-012. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of years back, before this commission, something similar was brought to this body, and a former commissioner asked about the liability. And these are pretty simple agreements. They're pretty straightforward, but there's no mention of liability in here. What would happen if there is an accident? Who's responsible for it? Because this county had an accident with the highway department some years back. I believe they hit a telephone pole and it fell on a lady's house and burned her house and shop down. And I'm just wondering, with us doing this work, what liability we potentially have.
Mr. Hedrick, will you address the question?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if it's appropriate to answer.
Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bennett.
Point of order.
State your point of order.
Point of order is that I don't know that a road superintendent needs to be speaking on behalf of liability on this county. That's attorney's commission.
Chair rules that the point of order is well taken. Commissioner Monroe, I'm going to allow you to continue, though.
Okay, well, then I move to postpone this until next month so that we can have a discussion about the liability in consultation.
Commissioner Monroe moves to postpone the adoption or action on Resolution 1705-012 until June. Is there a second? Second. I heard Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Miller, if you'll press second. Commissioner Monroe, if you'll press motion. Pending motion is to postpone action on Resolution 1705-012 until June. Commissioner Monroe, do you seek the floor for your motion?
I just think this would be prudent. The agreements are simple and straightforward. I just would like an answer as to our liability. Thank you.
Are the members ready for the question? The pending motion is to postpone this matter until June. meeting. Are the members ready to vote? If you're in favor of postponement, vote yes. If you're opposed to postponement, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 4 yes votes and 14 no votes.
4 yes, 14 no. The motion to postpone fails. The pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-012. Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of adoption, vote yes. If you're opposed to adoption, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 15 yes votes and 3 no votes.
15 yes, 3 no. Motion carries. The resolution is adopted. The next item of business is F11. The chair will stand for a motion on item F11, Resolution 1705-014, to adopt a written public records policy. Okay. Commissioner Caskey moves. Is there a second? Commissioner Bowers seconds. It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 1705-014. Commissioner Caskey, your motion maker, I'll recognize you first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make an amendment. I move to amend Exhibit A, Section 6, Item D3, by adding the words TCA 2-2-138 after the words pursuant to.
You have a motion to amend Resolution 1705-014 to add the words TCA 2-2-138 after the words pursuant to, and that's in Section 6, Item
D3.
D3. Is there a second? I heard a second over here, is Commissioner Bowers. Let the clerk, well, the clerk's got to get the amendment written.
Mr. Chairman, is it appropriate, since the motion maker and the seconder
Yes.
agree to that we can just deal
No,
with
we need it in the system for the minutes. It's been moved and seconded to amend. Commissioner Caskey, I'm going to go ahead and recognize you while the clerk catches up. If you want to explain the...
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is simply to allow the Election Commission to set their own fees in accordance with TCA. TCA allows the Election Commission to set a fees for records, election records, for voter records.
And I believe in the same section, there are other TCA sites, and they pertain to Circuit Court Clerk, the Register of Deeds, and the Clerk's Office. So you're just providing this amendment to take care of the Election Commission. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, got it.
Okay, we have a motion by Caskey, seconded by Bowers, to amend Section 6, Item D3. Commissioner Monroe on the motion to amend. Are the members ready for the question? The pending motion is to amend Exhibit A, Section 6, Item D3, by adding the words TCA 2-2-138 after the words pursuant to. Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of the amendment, vote yes. If you're opposed to the amendment, vote no.
Chairman, there are 15 yes votes and 3 no votes.
15 yes, 3 no. The motion carries. The amendment is adopted. Now, the pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-014 as amended. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a statement about the resolution, then I also have a response from the Office of Open Records Counsel here. The resolution in the third whereas and the fourth whereas reads such that we're adopting it as proposed by the ad hoc committee, and that such language does not seem to allow for amendments. It says, whereas said ad hoc committee has completed its work and has prepared a proposed written public records policy, and the policy prepared by the committee is attached hereto as Exhibit A and is submitted to the full Blount County Legislative Body for approval. And whereas the Blount County Legislative Body finds that it is mandated to establish a written public records policy and hereby adopts and approves the proposed written public records policy as recommended by the ad hoc committee and attached hereto as Exhibit A, that language does not seem to allow for amendments. We're saying in the resolution that we're adopting it as recommended by the ad hoc committee. I think that language needs to be stricken from that resolution. But another concern, I want to bring to this body's attention Section 4, Inspection of Records, A, where it says, there shall be no charge for inspection of open public records. An appointment is required for inspection. You go on to C, it says, under reasonable circumstances, the PRRC or a records custodian may require an appointment for inspection of records at an alternate location. The time or appointment should be made within the normal business hours unless mutually agreed upon by the PRRC and the requester. These two statements appear to contradict because one says that an appointment is required and then it says may. So I wrote the Office of Open Records Counsel because on their website there is mention that that the Open Records Policy, Open Records Act does not allow for an appointment to be required when you request to inspect records, but it does say that some provisions in the law allow for the setting of appointments. So I ask if an appointment could always be required because it says an appointment is required for inspection. And so I would request to be able to read the response that I received from the Office of Open Records Counsel.
Request permission to read a document. Is there objection? Hearing no objection, so ordered.
Good afternoon, Ms. Monroe. I assume your question is regarding Section 4, Part A of the draft policy, which provides, quote, there shall be no charge for inspection of open public records. An appointment is required for inspection, end quote. However, Part C of the same section provides that the PRRC may require an appointment for inspection of records, quote, under reasonable circumstances, end quote. Whether requiring an appointment to inspect the records is reasonable will ultimately be left to a court to decide based upon the particular facts and circumstances of each case. However, to the extent that a county's public records policy provides a blanket rule that an appointment is required for the inspection of any records in any situation, we find it difficult to imagine that a court would find it reasonable to require an appointment for inspection under the facts and circumstances of each and every situation. And that's from the Office of Open Records Counsel. So to clear that up, make this simpler, I move to strike in Section 4A, the last sentence, an appointment is required for inspection.
We have a motion to amend Exhibit A, Section 4, Item A, by striking the words "an appointment is required for inspection." Is there a second?
Need to push their buttons.
Okay, Commissioner Monroe moves and Commissioner Akerd seconds.
So, Mr. Chairman, this would still allow for under C if, for example, there are requests to inspect records that contain confidential information, and they would need to print those records out and redact confidential information before you inspect them. They would still have the
Let's stay on the
authority.
motion to amend, Commissioner.
Well,
And
I'm
the
saying this
motion to
would still
amend is-
allow them to do their job and would comply with, and we would not have to worry about, we reduce our chances of being sued if we do this.
Pending motion is a motion to amend Exhibit A, Section 4, Item A, by striking the words "an appointment is required for inspection." Commissioner Caskey, you're recognized on the motion to amend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe that we met twice. Meetings were open. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I believe that we met twice. Meetings were open. Anybody could come and voice their opinion, and we discussed these things thoroughly. We had the attorney
Commissioner
there.
Caskey, if you could speak to the merits of the amendment, sir.
Well,
It's nice that we had two meetings, but could you speak to the merits?
The amendment says that we're going to remove something that we discussed in open meetings with an attorney present, and we placed it in there in accordance with the model policy that we were given. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The pending motion is a motion to amend Exhibit A, Section 4, Item A, striking the words "an appointment is required for inspection." Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of the amendment, vote yes. If you're opposed to the amendment, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 4 yes votes and 14 no votes.
4 yes, 14 no. The motion to amend fails. The pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-014 as amended. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized for the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I certainly would have liked to have attended those meetings. I was unable to because I had
Commissioner
other
Monroe,
meetings.
if you will speak to the merits of the main motion.
Okay, shall speak to the merits of the main motion. I have read this policy, and it's very disappointing. It seems to put in place every unnecessary impediment, and originally would have made it very costly for copies. This policy is not in the best interest of the citizens. We can do better. And I have another amendment.
State your amendment.
Section 2E. Let me pull that up.
Section 2, Item E.
Yes, let me pull it up, sorry. And 2E. Okay. Where it says proof of Tennessee citizenship shall accompany a records request. I move to insert the words, I move to strike the period after request and insert the words with a request for waiver of fees.
Okay, we have a motion to amend Section 2, Item E. Proof of Tennessee citizenship shall accompany a records request with a request for waiver of fees. Is that correct?
Yes.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Monroe, seconded by Commissioner
Sorry,
Miller.
Mr. Chairman, I just realized that should say containing containing a request for waiver of fees. I'm sorry. A records request and containing a request for waiver of fees.
Well, I have the wording, I think it's the same thing, with a
Okay.
request for waiver of fees.
Okay.
A records request that has a
A request,
waiver
yes.
request of fees
Yes, okay,
within the
that's fine.
request. Okay, so a motion has been made and seconded to insert the words with a request for waiver of fees.
Yes. And then I have some discussion.
Commissioner Monroe, I'll allow you to speak on your motion to amend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have, as a citizen, done a lot of records requests over the years. Prior to becoming a county commissioner, I did a records request to the state and to the sheriff's office for the same information to see who had what that I was looking for. And I was given a prompt response from the state, and I did not have to provide an ID or proof of citizenship. I got a prompt response.
Commissioner Monroe,
But
the model policy, this is the language, this entire section is the sample that we were given, and it's very clear, Tennessee residency has to be proven for a request.
But a photo ID is not required. And when I did an open records request, I mailed it to where it was supposed to go. And then I was told that I had to come down and provide
Commissioner Bennett, state your point of order.
Everybody in this room knows that the commissioners made several open records requests, but I don't know what this has to do with this
Well, if you'd let
motion
me
to
speak,
amend.
you'd know.
Well, I don't know that this has anything to do with the motion to amend. So,
Commissioner Bennett, Chair rules that the point of order is not in order, not well taken. Commissioner Monroe, please speak to the merits of your amendment. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think that a ID should be required.
But you're not
unless-
speaking, your amendment doesn't have anything to do with an ID. Your amendment was to add the words request for a waiver of fees, proof of citizenship. That's the extension of that sentence.
Yes, and I'm explaining that the photo ID and a proof of citizenship should only be required if you're a Tennessee citizen who's requesting a fee waiver. When I requested records, I had to give an ID. I had to drive down, give an ID, and I was put in the interrogation room while my driver's license was photocopied.
But Commissioner, the statute allows Blount County, Tennessee to require proof of Tennessee residence.
We can, but we do not have to require that. We can provide the records without requiring it. This is an unnecessary impediment. I don't want to see citizens put in interrogation rooms for making open records requests, as was done to me and was done to another member of this commission who was a citizen at that time. We were both placed in an interrogation room for asking for open records. So I would move to make this simpler on the citizens and just simply say that they only have to provide proof of citizenship or an ID if they're requesting a waiver. Otherwise, they should be able to request the records without having to provide proof of citizenship or an ID to obtain records.
You still have the floor. Commissioner Kaler, you're recognized.
Thank you,
On the
Mr.
motion to amend, sir.
I'd like to ask the mayor a question, please.
State your question.
Mayor, do we have an attorney that represents the best interests of this county in regards to this type of question?
Commissioner Kaler, your question's not in order, sir. It doesn't have anything to do with the motion to
Well,
amend.
I disagree with that. I'm going somewhere. Would you give me a little leniency?
What does this have to do with including a waiver for fees, changing the language?
Because I think we have an attorney that we pay to assure that what we are trying to push forward is in line with the law.
So your point is that you'd like to ask the mayor, has this been reviewed by the county attorney?
Whatever word you want to use. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mayor Mitchell, you're recognized.
Yes. Thank you. I'm not through yet.
Commissioner Samples.
I'm not yielding.
All right, thank you, sir.
If we're going to pay the gentleman that we pay to review these things and give us legal direction, then I think it behooves us to listen to him.
So I take it you do not support the amendment. Do you rise in opposition or
I think
support?
that would be a safe assumption, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Samples, you're recognized on the motion to amend, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move previous question on all previous motions.
On all pending motions. I have a motion, previous question on all pending motions. Is there a second?
Second.
Let's let the clerk catch up. We have a motion, previous question on all pending motions made by Commissioner Samples, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. Where's your button? Pending motion is previous question on all pending motions. It's not debatable, requires 2/3 vote. If you're in favor of previous question on all pending motions, vote yes. If you're opposed to the previous question, pending motions, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 13 yes votes and 4 no votes.
13 yes, 4 no. Most previous question fails. The pending motion is a motion to amend. It requires 14 votes, sir.
Who did not vote? Somebody didn't vote.
Sorry.
Somebody didn't vote.
Okay, here's the way it goes, folks. Member asks unanimous consent to change his vote. Is there objection? There's objection. Motion per previous question fails. Pending motion is the motion to amend.
Commissioner Stinnett did not vote.
Sorry. Pending motion is the motion to amend. Section 2, item E, by adding the words with request for waiver of fees. Commissioner Bennett, do you wish to speak on the motion to amend?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman.
You're recognized.
Thank you,
Do
Mr.
you rise
Chairman.
in opposition or support?
I rise in opposition, and for this reason, we not only are custodians of records in the accounting office and the sheriff's office, we also have very sensitive legal documents in the Register of Deeds office, and I think it requires us to show residency because there are sensitive records that people that have ill will could get a hold of, and so I do believe that the citizens of this community would be very willing to show an ID to see those records, and so I oppose the amendment.
Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized for the second time on the motion to amend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Be order, please.
The point seemed to have been made that because the attorney reviewed this, everything is in order, but we just saw an amendment a while ago to put a TCA code in here that was left out. You know, most of the records in the office of, in the Register of Deeds are open public records that you can walk in and see at any time. You don't have to have an appointment to go inspect those records.
Commissioner Monroe, we've already acted on that
So,
motion. We're discussing item 2E, the amendment thereof.
yes, and I'm discussing the points that were just made. We're here to serve the citizens, and if we can make it easier on them, we should. This policy makes it more difficult on the citizens. And I know from experience, having dealt with it, how difficult it can be to obtain records. We should make it as easy on the citizens as we can. We're not required to do certain things. There are certain things that we can do that are optional. We should not require that they all have to come down and prove citizenship and present an ID. We should reduce that as much as possible. This delays the process. It makes it more time consuming. There's more labor involved in all of this. We should make this as simple on the citizens as we possibly can. Thank you.
Are the members ready for the question? The pending motion is to adopt Resolution 17-05014. The amendment, amending Section 2, Item E. We're voting on the amendment. Is everyone clear? The pending motion is to amend the resolution, specifically Section 2, Item E, by adding the words after the words request, insert the words with a request for waiver of fees, made by Monroe, seconded by Miller. Is everyone straight? The pending motion is the motion to amend. If you're in favor of the amendment, vote yes. If you're opposed to the amendment, vote no. Anytime you're not clear when we put the question, please say clarify. Has everyone voted?
Mr. Chairman, there are 3 yes votes and 15 no votes. 3
yes, 15 no. The motion to amend fails. The pending motion is Resolution 17-05014 as amended. Are the members ready for the question? You've spoken twice to the main motion. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to know, does the whereas's statements in the resolution, since it says in there that we are adopting it as recommended by the ad hoc committee, there's been 2 changes. But
Commissioner Monroe, as you well know, I have 2 gentlemen sitting to my left who has a few years on this commission. Any resolution that comes before this body at this meeting is amendable. Commissioner Samples, Vice Chair,
but the wording,
Chairman Pro Tem Samples is the chair in error. Commissioner Farmer is the chair in error. No, sir. Commissioner Monroe. It's out of order to amend the preamble without amending the resolve portion first.
well, the whereas statements appear to conflict with what you're about to adopt.
By action of this body, this resolution was amended. Exhibit A was amended.
But Exhibit A has been amended, and it's not as recommended by the ad hoc committee.
Mr. Chairman, point of order, you've ruled and ruled and ruled on this. Call the question.
Gentlemen.
How long?
Commissioner Melton, you're recognized. Commissioner Melton moves previous question. Commissioner Bennett seconds. The pending motion is to adopt Resolution 17-05014 as amended. If you're in favor of the previous question, ready? Pending motion is previous question. Made by Melton, seconded by Bennett. Maker, Mr. Melton, press your mover button, please. Okay. Mover is Melton, seconded by Bennett. Not Mike Aker. Mr. Aker, if you'll push the button that says remove motion. Okay, Mr. Melton, now we're correct. Pending motion is to move the previous question. If you're in favor of moving the previous question, vote yes. If you're opposed to the previous question, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 15 yes votes and 3 no votes.
15 yes, 3 no. Motion previous question carries. Now the pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1705-014 as amended. If you're in favor of adoption, vote yes. If you're opposed to adoption, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, there are 15 yes votes and 3 no votes.
15 yes, 3 no. The motion carries. Resolution's adopted. The next item of business is F12. The chair will stand for a motion on item F12, Resolution 1705-015, to approve Memorandum of Understanding, Mutual Assistance Agreement between Blount County, Tennessee, Blount County Sheriff's Office, and Pellissippi State Community College, Blount County campus.
So moved.
Commissioner Samples moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Carver seconds. Is moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 1705-015. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to adopt 1705-015. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, there are 18 yes votes.
18 yes, 0 no. Motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Now, on the consent calendar, we had an item by request of Commissioner to move item 4A to F13. But I have a question. These are for information only. What does the member desire? Commissioner Monroe?
Well, I wanted to know, since the submission deadline had already passed, were we just voting for this for information only because the forms state on there the date of commission approval? Additionally, none of the forms list who reviewed them.
Okay, just a moment. Mr. Vineyard, if you can speak to this item, it's on page 2 of tonight's agenda, B4, item A, grant information worksheets, 5th Judicial District 17 and 18, the DUI abatements, alcohol saturation patrols.
What's the question?
Commissioner Monroe, state your question.
None of these list who reviewed them. Who reviewed them? The item one, the line item where it says reviewed by.
This is something in my staff and both the submitting department would review.
Okay, and so you have reviewed them.
Commissioner Monroe, let's let Mr. Vineyard finish.
Yes, they wouldn't have been in the budget committee's packet if we had not reviewed them.
Okay.
And they don't, those are for information only. They require no action of the Budget Committee or the Commission.
It's consistent with the grant policy that this body adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Vineyard. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
So we are voting to adopt them. And
Mr. Vineyard, this is not truly a motion to adopt these.
The record states it's information only.
Thank you, Mr. Vineyard. Commissioner Monroe.
But there's a date on there for commission approval, so the commission does not have to approve these.
Mr. Vineyard for the third time.
This is the same form that all grants come through on. So there are different circumstances with each grant.
Thank you, Mr. Vineyard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Item G, statements and announcements. Does any, there's no action. There's no action required, sir. That's okay. These are for statements and announcements. Commissioner Caskey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just want to let everyone know the HR committee will meet Monday at 5 o'clock in this very room. Thank you.
Commissioner Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the consent agenda tonight, item 4D, we accepted the results of the comptroller's audit report, and I think it would behoove this body to recognize the fact that not only is this county exceptional, it is outstanding in its financial record keeping, and I think the elected officials, the mayor's office, and especially the finance director, Mr. Vineyard, and his staff deserve recognition, because it is no small feat to be audited by an independent body mandated by the legislature of this state to independently review the records and to come out with no findings at all is outstanding. And so I'd like to commend the mayor's office, all of the elected officials, and especially the finance department for what they have accomplished with this audit.
Item H, public input on items not on the agenda. If you'll introduce yourself, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Gary Holloway. I'm the Executive Director of the East Tennessee Human Resource Agency, and we had a request before this body a few months ago through Mayor Mitchell for funding for our urban transportation program, and I just came here tonight with Mike Patterson, our Transportation Director, to thank you for stepping up to the plate for us and for your generosity. I would like to say that at this time that we would just ask those funds be put in reserve. We're not requesting any of those. We feel like at this point that we are solvent and able to continue to do the urban transportation in the Blount County area, and I just would like to, as I said, say thank you for what you've done, for your support, not only of our transportation program, but of the entire East Tennessee Human Resource Agency, for all the programs that we do and serve on your behalf. And to say a special thank you to Mayor Mitchell, Mayor Mull, and Mayor Taylor for their support as well. So thank you all very much.
Anyone else? If you'll come up, sir, introduce yourself.
Mr. Chairman, Jim Hinkle, District 10. In view of the line of questioning tonight in regard to our highway superintendent, I personally stand here tonight commending this man for the job he's done. Out in the district I live in, I heard nothing but compliments in regard to the highway department, how they've handled everything. And it seems like ever since this man was unanimously elected as highway superintendent, we've had nothing but bad things happen. It seems like every week or every other week we have a windstorm, and I know out in my area there's trees down everywhere. And he can keep his whole crew full time cutting trees off the road. In my 75 and a half years on this earth, I've had the misfortune of buying a few pieces of used equipment. A car drove by an old maid school teacher. It didn't hold up too well. And I think you'll find you get what you pay for, and I really believe in that firmly. And as far as the qualifications of some of the employees of this highway department, I know them personally. And I know the stories behind where they used to work before they were stolen by Blount County and came to work for us. And believe me, we have some excellent employees, and they know how to operate that machinery as long as we provide them something decent to work with. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no hands, item I. Without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Hearing no objections, we're adjourned.